Hey guys, John Stevens here again at Working Man Success. I'm here to talk to you about the ideals, concepts, practical plans, and attitudes that can help you work your way up the ladder of success and create a great career and build a great life for you and your family. And I believe that's missing in today's world. I don't believe there's a lot of people that has passed along ideals and concepts and the information that young people need to go in and operate on a daily basis in their career and know that it's possible to build a great life just as an everyday average working man. So today, guys, I'm going to tell you one it took me a long time to understand, and I'm going to try to explain it in a very simple way, but it's virtually saying that when I was 20 years old, I was a lot smarter than I am now in my mid 40s. And basically the concept is what I call the river of knowledge. And as you go into new stages of your life and new careers, and you start going into different avenues, you will start seeing things differently, and you will start opening your mind up to better ways of doing stuff, better ways of operating, better ways to manage your money, better ways to approach your work. And at 20 years old, I just thought I showed up and worked my ass off and got where I, like whatever that gets me, it gets me. And that's not true. The concept of the river of knowledge is basically, I love to fish. So I think of it as like, if I am fishing a small creek when I'm young, and I go to the same little area, the same little creek, and I become very efficient, and I understand, I know where every rock is, I know where every limb is, I know the depth of the creek, I know everything about this creek. I start feeling like I know I'm like really good at fishing, right? And then one day I get to the point where I travel down the creek some, and the further I travel, the bigger the creek gets. And I understand that, it's harder to fish this certain area because it's a larger area and I don't know as much information. And the further I go down the creek, it turns into a river. And the river seems like really overwhelming. And just a few years ago, when I was fishing that little area in the creek, I knew that I was really good at fishing, and I understood everything there was to know about fishing because my mind hadn't been opened up yet. And then when I got to the river, I realized I knew very little about fishing. It was so much more to comprehend. And eventually you go on down the river and it turns into a huge lake. And then you go through that lake and you keep on working your way down and you end up in the ocean. And the further you go through life, and the more you learn, and the more information you have and the more knowledge you have, the dumber you realize you are. So right now in my mid 40s, I am much dumber than I was when I was 20 years old, because I realized there's so much more stuff. My eyes has been opened. I see that there's so much more information and ways to look at things and different perspectives that I didn't know when I was 20 years old. And that's a concept I wanted to pass along, is always have an open mind and realize that you're going to learn as you go, and you're going to expand your perspective on things. So whatever you know right now, just keep in mind that that's going to change as time goes, because you're only looking at it from the perspective of where you are in life right now and where you've been. So the more places you go, and the more that you work up the ladder of success, and you get in different positions, or you get in bigger companies, or you get married and have a family, your perspective on things change tremendously. and you realize that when you knew everything, you was actually a lot dumber than you thought you was. And the older you get and the more perspective you have, the more you realize that you don't know. So it's kind of a dichotomy, right? So the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know. And guys, I think if you keep that in mind, it will keep your mind open to the ability to learn more stuff, and it will, like, people have a set ideal that they know they're right about, and when they know they're right, they don't have the ability to listen to different perspective. When people start debating or having a conversation about a situation, if in their head they're 100% right and there's no information that can ever change that, they're never going to grow. So that's the whole idea of this short video, is keeping in your head that they are different perspectives, there are different ways of looking at stuff, and at least leave your mind open to hearing different sides. Now, you may be right and you may need to stick with your thought, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't hear the different perspective. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have an open mind to at least let it enter your brain and think about, is this correct? Have I always seen this situation or this certain thing in the correct perspective? So remember the river of knowledge, y'all. The further you go down the river, the bigger it gets, and the more you realize that there's more to learn. So short and sweet today. That's what I got for you. If you thought this is good information, if you think it's a good concept, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Hit the subscribe button. Give me a like. Get in the comments. Tell me what you think about this idea. You probably never heard it like that. So tell me if you thought it was valuable. Tell me if you thought the way I presented it made sense. All right, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for listening.